Welcome to Termite Machine Works. My name is Keith, and today we're getting into the PlasmaCAM. I finally, I don't have, oh yeah I do. I have a new lip material that is going to come in and change the lip on my water tray, and I wanted to start at this point because I want to show you that I actually found a pretty good way to remove the grate by yourself. And then we're going to get in here, we're going to get cleaned up. We're going to be showing you what I temporarily put in there to make the splashing and everything else be able to go on in my water tray without, you know, having overflow or splashes and things like that. But anyway, we're going to add a stainless steel lip all the way around, which is going to increase our overall width of about 1 inch on the radius on all 4 sides. So we're going to be increasing the width of the tray itself 2 inches total. Alright, so what I found, and I got an angle here, and I also have another angle down below, and that other angle is able to go up and set into the air trough on the back side of my machine. I kind of keep it back there because I don't do as much cutting back there, so it doesn't have debris and stuff like that on it. Well, I got is an 1.5 by 1/4 inch straight piece of angle. This angle is, it's about almost 8 foot long. Just judging by that table, I know the table is. And I go ahead and I grab all of my grate here, and I slide this bar all the way in to where it sets up on the lip and underneath the angle of the PlasmaCAM on the far side. So then I can slide it out, and this actually will have leverage to hold the entire grate up in the air. Now it teeters like this, but I'm going to be grabbing it with one hand, and you can always either rest it on that side, rest it on this side as you're pulling this out. But just lifting up slightly. And of course there's a little bit of noise that you have to put up with, but you know, there we go. And it kind of clears. Of course, you're going to have some kind of a table. I happen to have this table here that I'll eventually rest it out on, but you can grab some other kind. This angle is free floating here, so you can overhang any kind of a rolling table or tray around your shop. And if you come out pretty straight, it actually clears there. When you get down close to the other end, you'll start having to lift it a little bit to get up over those 2 45-degree angles on that side of your opening. Okay, now once you're out here, you can lift it up, set it on the table, grab this in, and you're there. Alright, and when we go to put it back in, we'll be just grabbing this angle and we'll be able to slide it right back down that angle again. One, you're not going to have any accidents. You're not going to be cutting up your clothes and all of that. I mean, in one of my first videos, you actually see me grab that thing and do the lift and clean and jerk, and that was last year. I'm not that young anymore. So anyway, let's get to looking in here. I'm going to grab some wrenches and we're going to start pulling out this temporary angle that I put in here at the beginning to keep the splash from getting into the air chamber around here. Now you can see that the debris is piling up on this side here, and the spray cut right along the side of the edges there actually flares out like this when it's below the plate. So some catches this lip, which is real hard, I mean real close to being center line here, and then wants to spray into this area around where the air is drawn out through the vent. And this is not stuck on here real hard, okay? But you can see that this aluminum is being eaten up just like electrolysis in a marine tray, because we have moisture here and we have it sitting on a piece of stainless, and the stainless and aluminum really act quite a bit to each other. And I'm going to shoot a picture across. Let's go look on the inside over here, which really shows a lot of the action going on with the aluminum and the stainless. You can actually see down in here, and this is almost like it turns into paste, sweat and paste. Best way I can, really is. That's the aluminum material kind of running down there. Now I cut some aluminum, but you cut steel and you cut stainless and a lot of other things, but this interacts with the electric currents and everything else just as if this is a saltwater environment, and this is unprotected aluminum. It's not anodized or anything else. So this has been about a year and a couple months that I actually been running this. It took me a while to put this thing and build this together, but so this isn't that old in comparison to how many hours I've actually run this machine. And so anyway, we're going to go ahead and we're going to pop this out of here, and we're going to clean up in here, and we're going to add a stainless steel lip to the stainless steel tray to replace this and gain some width all the way around so we can catch more debris inside and get rid of the combination aluminum stainless at the water side of the tray here. Now these bolts here are probably going to look pretty nasty too, just by the feel. Okay, now after I did that one, I think I'm going to go get my impact wrench. These are pretty rusty. And for some foolish reason I put, maybe I just had, that's what I had laying around was National Fine. So I'm going to go grab my impact because we're going to make this a short job. A little better. Just got to make sure you get down over that head. Alright, we're completely free, and now we're taking out this aluminum angle, and we're not doing this any too soon there. I'll tell you what, it's pretty nasty the way that that's frothed up there. So if there's any lesson here, is not to combine aluminum and stainless for any part of your water tray. I wouldn't do any fittings or anything else like that. Okay, you're gonna have an electrolysis problem with your materials if you do so, because I'm having it right here. This is less than a year, well, this is about a year old. All right, now we're gonna take out our lower tray here. And this is a screen that when we cut things and it falls through, it actually rests on here, and we can lower the water down to that level, and we can reach in and pick them up without getting our hands and fingers wet. Now we're going to be adding this lip around here after I get this all cleaned up, and that's going to be our next step. So I'm going to get this out. Alright, we ran the vacuum in our kind of our foxtail brush, and now we're just taking a putty knife and we're scraping the aluminum oxide or oxidized aluminum off the lip here, and what's underneath is really kind of nice. It's still pretty, and so we're gonna get this scraped all the way around, and then we're gonna grab our stainless steel wire wheel and we're gonna get this cleaned up because we want to prep this out. We're gonna be welding our new piece in, whether it be tack or a series of aluminum. I mean, whether we're tacking it or welding it fully. And we haven't decided yet if we're going to be doing heliarc wire feed or what we're going to be doing right now. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this cleaned up all the way around. Alright, we just moved the gantry on over there, and that side we pretty well sucked up all the debris, and now we're coming in here, and this is the majority. I mean, we cut more over here than we usually do over there, and the sediment is a little heavier over here. But we're going to go ahead and finish clearing out this side here, and you can see that we have given a pretty good scrape around here. I want to run the wire wheel there and really get that cleaned up. Maybe even the Scotch-Brite pad. We'll see what we got going on after that. But I want to get all the wet stuff out of the bottom here so that we can change over our environment here in the tray for our finishing up work and our, moving on with the work in another way here. There we go. It's a pretty clean tray. I don't think you're ever going to get away from stains and things like that, it's not that hard to go ahead and suck up debris there mixed up with a little bit of moisture and water, and it's not real dusty. And I've done a lot worse things in my career of scraping tallow and bearings into dry dock and things like that. Nothing like smelling rotten whale blubber. At least that's what tallow used to be made out of. Oh yeah, it's still pretty nice looking stainless steel tray underneath all that aluminum frothing there, and this isn't pitted at all. This is nice and smooth. So we're going to go ahead and make the 360 turn around here, and we're going to get this cleaned up, and then we'll clean up our dust debris, and we'll start forming our extension lip that's going to increase the size of our water tray here. Alright, we held this side up at vertical, and we put the 45 on here to get it cut across here. We drew out this angle. Now these are just going to be short little cuts. We have our draft suction there, so we're not really worried about the airflow. Our doors wide open and things like that. These are going to be real short cuts, and we're just setting up here, and we're going to go ahead and trim this off and then dress it on the sander, and then we'll go on over and we're going to fit these to the tray itself. Take a little bit of practice, get back into manual mode here. That's not too bad. Alright, we'll square that off and we're going to set it up. Alright, we decided to do this to where we have one vertical and then one angle here so that all four of these will fit in. Now, that end over there is a little bit high, but we're kind of holding this in here and we're eyeballing that down, and that looks like a good angle to come in. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the opposite end, which would be a piece that comes into here, and we're going to check that for the fits. After we do that, then we'll get an overall length and we'll duplicate all the angles and all the full length cuts at that time. Then we'll go ahead and we'll clamp them in here, and we'll get some tacks in here and then weld this thing in. Okay, we got these clamped up. Now we measured inside our tray from side to side, okay, and I'm just gonna put that up there, and we got basically, we're 49 inches inside our original tray. Now we built the bottom out of a 48 by 48 inch plate, and we knew that we had to be a little bit larger, so our sides were 1/2 bent out, dog leg up, 3 inches, dog leg out, another 1/2 inch, and it really is not quite enough. So we added that double back angle piece, 1.5 by 1.5 aluminum angle on the top side to try to hold back some of the water splash. And in doing so, our actual flare out of spray was ricocheting off the knife edge or the leading edge at the top of the angle, and some of this stuff was diverting into the air chamber area, which is not detrimental, but it was building up some debris there. And also the aluminum frothing and everything else was causing a siphon action of the water up the side, and that's how the electrolysis just grew on itself. Alright, we got this cut here now. We're going to go ahead and measure all the pieces, 49 inches from inside of that angle to that, wherever these outside links here come to play. We also checked our angle coming down, and we're going to be real close to actually touching our grid, but that'll be fine. It may touch a little bit in the middle because of some of the areas that are going to bow or weld distort a little bit, but it still will let the grill sit all the way down to the table. And we're going to have a little bit less, but we'll still have the suction all the way around on the table. Alright, we have pretty much all of our corners are close enough. I can weld those in. Now we're going to want to join this along here as we're going, and we want it to be somewhat tight. We made this little tiny lip about 1/8 of an inch inside the actual wall here, because any straight down debris we want to go ahead and hit here, ricochet into the water there. So we're going to put in a series of spot welds, rosettes, along this lip, so we know that it's nice and tight and joining down there real close. So that's our next step. So we're going to pull one of these at a time, lift it off, mark it, go drill it, bring it back in, get ready to set. We're going to go around and do each one. Alright, there's a good hold right there. I just want to make sure we are 49 on the inside, 49.5. So it's 2 foot, 1 right there, 2 foot, 24.5, 24.5. Okay, the center's going to get one. Then we're going to go every 4 inches. Alright, so we're barring it over, kind of getting the last of the alignments done here. And that feels pretty good there. Last corner right over here. Alright, we're going in. We're going to be tacking this. This is going to be our first tack in the corners in that little rosette weld right there. And we got this held in with the reach overs. And we're just going to reach in here and give that a tack right in that rosette. Alright, now we're going to let that cool real quick. Alright, now we're going to release this and we're going to go over to this side here. And the same thing. Getting that real tight right in the corner there. Okay, we want to spread it out. We're worried about the contact underneath here. We're not worried about that gap right there. We can fill a gap wider than our tungsten if we have to with Heliarc. All right, we're gonna trade hands. We're gonna snake this in here and get ready. Okay, I think I can do that. It's a little awkward, but we're just going for penetration tack. Alright, now we can go ahead and we can break these clamps loose here. They were basically just holding it in the neighborhood. Alright, and now we got this nice and wide open and we can play with this, we can play with that seam right there. Alright, we're going to do the other four corners just like that. Okay, we just got through tapping this straight edge in here. We cut this off in a bandsaw at 49 inches. That is the inside. 49 was the original. But through the other welding that we have in here, this thing's made a dish and a warp and a bend. So we want to go ahead and stress relieve it in this width right here. And this looks nice and straight in here, both sides. All right. We had just dipped this into the stainless tack that we did over there, and we want to go ahead and we want to clean that back off again, so we have a nice clean tungsten. I like to use my zirconia belt here, and I hug it in real close to this edge right here, so it's almost vertical. And then just spin it ever so slightly by hand. That is probably the best, fast, all-around, quickest way that I know to put a tip on a tungsten, and I use that a lot. If the belt is extremely felty or whatever, I won't use it, or might go over on the diamond wheel or whatever, depending on what I'm working on. But if it's just semi-quality welding I'm looking for, I sharpen it with my zirconia. All right, let's see if we can do one without dipping the tungsten. All right. Now you heard that little pop, you know, you can, things are starting to stress relieve and relax, and you know, the aluminum out here on the outside is probably taking a little bit of pressure because of expanding this. see how much pressure we are holding that, and it has a little bit of pressure, but it let us tack that even on the face there. That's what we wanted. All right, now we're gonna put this in crosswise here now. Go for the left hand first. We'll get that over the foot pedal there. Okay. There's the right hand now. All right, we just put a fresh tip on here. Okay, now we're tacked all the way around. Now we can go ahead and we're gonna go get a big crescent wrench. We're gonna be able to tweak those right in spot. We're gonna tack up in the corner, and we're gonna do one vertical weld seam up each corner. This one, I like this proto or snap-on crescent wrench I have here, and I'm holding that in, and then I'm gonna do a quick tack right there at the corner. Hold it till it cools. Alright, now we'll go to the next. Okay, this is my left hand here. That means I'm using my left hand on the torch. Alright, I gotta switch over to my right hand and work from this other side here. Alright, there we go. Okay, you can see that we're complete on here. All my welding is done in all four corners, and this is tacked in here. The water level doesn't come above this lower section right here. In fact, this actually hangs down a little bit from there. This basically is this modification that I did now, and really if I was to build another stainless steel tray again, I would go ahead and shoot for a 51-inch square, 51 by 51. Okay, I know you guys are gonna you want to know more about how I build this tray. Let's just say that this outside edge right now is 51 by 51. I started out with a 49-inch in here. All right, I still would probably put like a 45 turn folded in on the bottom and there, because you got to start. I think unless you get into an expense, if you're buying a 5-foot wide sheet, you can go ahead and get it cut larger than there. But most people aren't going to be able to afford the larger than 48 by 48 piece. They're going to soak you a little bit more for a little bit bigger piece. So anyhow, the total depth now of the tray is 6 1/4 inches, and this height is still the same here. This is 2 inches my support off the bottom, so that I always have 2 inches of water in here, but I'm able to raise it above there and flood it out another inch higher, so I can go from 3 inches down to 2 inches to pick my parts off of the grill if I want to. And it also lets it have a false bottom so that the cuttings and the debris has a place to go. So even if you're not draining your water down, you're still going to reach down in there, and your parts aren't down in the mud. All right, so there's some dimensions there. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go get the lower screen. I've already got it washed, and we're going to start putting this thing back together. We're going to drag out this barrel, and we're going to change out the steel barrel with the plastic one, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. All right, and that's as simple as that. And you know, it does have a little bit of clearance around here. It kind of sets down in there. It is well worth having this. You can develop a lot of debris and cuts and granules and things like that, and it can be down below that surface that you're going to reach in and grab. All right, now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this fitting out here, which is just a big drain, and then this drum hose comes off like that. All right, now this is kind of what you got. Even though I painted this barrel and stuff like that, and you got rust and you got steel coming in here, the barrel's not leaking yet. But I'm going to change this out because I have a plastic 55-gallon drum, and I'm going to cut it to the same height or a little bit higher than this, and that's what we're going to continue running our water sump. Your knife sideways works pretty good at deburring plastic. All right, we got the new plastic drum underneath there, and we got the pump down inside. You can't see in there. All right, so new barrels underneath there, and I made it a little taller so we gained a little bit more water capacity in there. Not that we were short any, but we do have some more anyway. Also too, if it happens to drain in or whatever, we had a little bit less between fully full and then draining down and how high it was, and if we gained a little bit on the lip it'll be more comfortable. I think that's how we did it. All right, we're going to go ahead and shift the table or the carriage on over here, and we're going to go clean up the grill and get it ready and put it back in here. All right, under that lip over there, over the top of the stainless steel lip, and we're hanging out here. And this gives you a little bit of leverage so that you can get it on here and then use this to help slide it in. Now, the aluminum rail is going to be in line there because we want that corner up here. This is like our final turn probably on this grill here. So we'll get it down here to where I can get around it. We're just adjusting this in side to side here. All right, we'll be able to pull that rail up now. Okay. All right, now we can lower it down. I couldn't have planned that any closer right there. In fact, I think I was just barely going to have enough room for the aluminum angle to go up and over the edge to store over there, just like we had. That's looking, yeah, that's down. There we go. All right. That's 100% down. Now we can go ahead and pull our angle off of here. That angle will go over on that side there, and this one now will go in the corner. Okay, now we can go ahead and we can bring up our ground block and our other clamp block here. This is a little brass block that we bored and slotted with some Allen set screws, and this ties this grill into the grounding rod. And also the grounding rod also goes to the base of the water tray. All right, and then here, now we may have a little problem or have to readjust this one here. All right, we took this block and we drilled and tapped this hole in here so we could get it, and then we actually had to go in and we bent the 3/8 rod that comes up from underneath where our ground clamps to a bronze piece of fixture there that we made, and then we have the secondary ground clamp up here so that we're not bringing a cable over the edge. We actually have a cable that hangs out inside the plasma table, and of course it's something that you got to keep track of. You know, I got to get a 9/16 wrench to actually get that rope. Nice thin-walled box wrench here. All right, nice and snug. All right, now we're secure. Now we can go ahead and take and feed this cable over here. Alright, we got water going in the drum down here, and we got the valve open. We're going to start transferring some up into here so we can get the flow going. That's why I leave that little plastic cover over there, just so that the water forcing out of there stays from splashing up. Works out pretty good. Haven't had to change that at all. Boy, it sure looks nice when it's clean down in there, huh? Yeah. Okay, water's just starting to get above the inlet. Alright, now that lip now is well 1.5 inches outside of the 4-foot square that we can cut on. Alright, so that should really help on that spray there, and also not having that return is going to make a difference on that debris. Now we still got that amount of airflow between the blue you see there and that lip of the tray. Just starting just starting to overflow into the level there. That's the drain. When it drains down, it actually drains down to where that much of the grill is showing. Now we should just about start seeing some water come out of the high level drain pipe, which is the pipe right there. There it comes right there. Alright, so our tray up above is at maximum water height. Now we're just going to go ahead and we're going to add a little bit more into this reservoir area here so that we always have a little bit to pump in. Alright, we're going to let that fill for a little bit. And that flow right there puts that water right close to the left. Okay, now I know here's another measurement that you want. When the water is up to the level that I run the machine at, where I'm cutting the material. That height to that level right there is 7.5 inches to the top of the point. From water to the top of the bottom of the material, 7.5 inches. That's where it's been from day one, and I'm really been comfortable with it, and it's worked well for me. I gave you a radius corner too.